Got to fiddle a little bit. There we go. Make sure everything's in the right. That's about right. Let the feed catch up. Yep. That's about right. We have lift off. Okie dokie. Let's just give the feed a second just to sort itself out. Open up the drinky poos. Ahoy, shipmate, how are you doing? The palais, as they say in, not that actually they don't say in, I was going to say that say in France. I don't think they pronounce it palais in France. That's a mere piratism, I suppose. Let's get myself a nice new brush out. It's been a very busy one, my friend. So I'm cracking through the commissions. It was a very big one, and it's formed a little bit of a queue, but I should give you a shout about that, mate. Okay. Well, here we are again. Welcome to Friday night paint along. There's a few of us here now, so I shall get going. Right, tonight's paint along is Saga Christian Priest 3 and SPR14 is its Gripping Beast code. As ever, there's all the Gripping Beast gubbins on the back. So we can get in the box now. Okie dokie. Oh. I'll put it somewhere where it's not going to cause a miniature launch. I'm not sure if that's a real word or not, or not just made up. You can tell. Okay. I've got coffee. I've got dolly mixtures. Anyone want a dolly mixture? Ha. I mean, I could pop one in the post to you, I suppose, but probably not good idea. Right. Enough of my waffling. I just noticed it's got a little tiny bit. I noticed on the picture earlier, I put up earlier. There's a little bit of tiny imperfection I missed just in his mouth. I'm just gonna give him little clippers. In there. See if that got out enough. Oops. Scalping this, sorry about it being off camera a sec. I just didn't want to slash my fingers to pieces. Okay, you see I've done a little bit of scraping in there. Woohoo! So first of all, we're going to start with some moonstone skin. I like these very kind of plain miniatures. They always kind of surprise you when you... We certainly made it for another week, guys, that's for sure. Here we are. We're going to thin it out with our medium. We've got the paints on a wet palette. As ever, the undercoat is Vallejo black, Vallejo grey, as a Xenophil, through the old airbrush, bush, bush, bush. I'm still using my stupidly stupid cheap brushes. Usually on Black Friday things, they usually put them slightly cheaper, and I usually buy a few packets, but they haven't done it this time, so... Yes, very interesting. So just thinning that paint down. And there's all army paint. Paints even the old ones before the Fanatic ones. If you water them down with a medium, they seem the coverage is better. Yeah. So it's all been crazy stuff all week, really. Beastie Boys panicking, flopping around and flying about to get the new box sets ready for the Age of Chivalry. Which is good stuff. See these beautiful front rank miniatures joining in the Saga universe, which is what we want, really. The dog's by me chewing his bed. You can hear a funny sound. That's what it is. Hopefully that'll turn into snores in a bit. I think it has already. There we go. This is our base colour. So base colour flesh on. I'm going to put the brown on the basing. Now the basing, if you haven't seen before, we use Pebio. It's a French word again. It's a lot of Frenchy words today. If you go on Amazon, type in Pebeo, and there's one of those little lines above it to make it very French. It's Pebio, I suppose. But yeah, that's the pomace I use. It's a neutral rather than all the Vallejo ones, I don't know if they do a neutral one, but they do different colours. I was going to say flavours then. Don't eat it, it's not good. But I like the neutral one from Pebio. And any old browns I scoop over into this whole pot. It's mainly that colour. And just lots of medium in there to make it nice and thin. That is completely down to my Mr. Clonk. We take no responsibility for what you decide to eat. We do not advise anyone eat basing pomace. I just like that to be said on camera. I think most hobby stuff now is pretty safe, but I still wouldn't advise eating it. I remember there was a record breakers years ago. You know, the was it Roy Castle? Yeah, record breakers. And there was some young guy in there, and this was the start of all the paints, all the GW paints, and he could tell you what paint color it was by taste. And he was actually on the telly, and they tried it out, and they were saying, "Don't try this at home." Can you imagine them? You can imagine the record break. I wonder why they stopped putting on telly. Can you imagine doing it nowadays? You get sued to pieces, wouldn't you? This is Bobby from Preston. He can tell. Yeah, I do remember trying to put the point back on my brush when using an animal after washing it out is white spirits, and thinking that didn't taste very nice. I'm not going to do that again. And luckily, not far into my painting career, somebody introduced me to acrylics. You know, just come out. First ones I had were in a jar. What were they? Did Revel bring out some? I know some of the first ones I had were Humbrol ones, but didn't Revel do some? They were really like sort of emulsion. They were more than anything. I can't remember. There was like a horrible blue. Okay, so we'll let that. The reason I do it with that really watered down brown, if you haven't seen it before. Yeah. There was ones before those, wasn't there? Oh, what was it? God. I'll come to you in a minute. I know I bought some Tamiya paints, thinking, oh, they must be better than enamels. But a lot of them are Humbrol enamels, so it was probably early Humbrol acrylics I bought. I've probably still got the pot somewhere. Okie dokie. Brune. One is to be brown. So let's start with oak brown. Oh no, it was French. It might be Revel. They were glass pots. I don't know. Again, so this is oak brown. Again, thinning with medium. I'm going to get a nice thin fiddler. There's a chap that's been coming to every convention and asking if I've got a Christian priest, and I never have. So I decided to paint one, put it in my collection. And if we keep that nice and thin, you see how smooth it goes onto that undercoat. That beautiful. The dog is snoring. Yes, there is many trolls. Colin's bringing out some new stuff. I don't think is his Kickstarter finished yet. Or are you talking about older trolls? Because I've got some really old trolls. From here, I can spot at least 7 trolls. Yeah, I've got some really. I've come into my possession some really old school rare metal magic trolls. I just sold 2 the old RuneQuest ones, the original pre-slot ones. I shall send you some pictures of trolls later. That sounds so wrong. Yeah, we're just keeping that. Even that matte medium working. If you're a newbie to the channel, welcome. And the matte medium I'm talking about, if you look through my videos, there's one that shows you how I make it. And again, it's that Pebeo stuff. And I think they've usually got a couple of quid off on Black Friday on their stuff. I can't guarantee it though. I've got no affiliation with either Pebeo or Amazon. The one with the big ears, I found him last week in the mountain of miniatures I've bought. Yeah, I've got that, but he's like, I couldn't believe how dear he is. I think I got the Guthrie ones as well. Yeah, that one with the big ears. Actually, if you go on my X page and scroll down, I wasn't sure what the Metal Magic ones were at first, and I asked everyone if they knew what these were. They're proper old skanky looking trolls. Yeah, but that one with the big ears, I saw him go for £75. Can believe it. It's stupid money. But I have him, but he is downstairs at the moment. I've got the later GW Rock and River trolls up here. Let's just stretch onto the shelf now. It's very dusty. Sorry. Haha. I just wanted them as green trolls. Is that one? The silly looking ones. They're quite cool. The river trolls are being meaner. I'll stop grabbing trolls off the shelf. The Reaper ones are quite good, but I think I've sold all those. Yeah, they might have gone for sale already. I'm trolling myself. Okay, right, let's get back to what I'm supposed to be doing. Right, next, let's deal with that flesh. We're going to use our cheat, because this is our cheat code program. We're going to go for the Crusader Flash Speed Paint 2, which I noticed it was nearly out earlier. I have got a second bottle somewhere. Couldn't be bothered to look for it earlier. Thought that'd be enough for tonight. Remember to use a crappy brush for this, because that's Speed Paint 2. You know, weirdly, when I first tried it, and I said on the, I can't remember which, but when I first got hold of these and I tried them, I said it's like the contents of a permanent marker pen. Ironically, I must have been right. Well, not ironically, but maybe surprisingly. I don't know. But yeah, so I forgot to paint the top of his head, didn't I? Derp. This is the beauty of having a wet palette. You just go back into the colour you need. Yeah, I think it's the Green Stuff World. I bought the basically speed paint in pens. It's, they're like those big fiber tip brush pens. So they look quite fun to muck around with. I don't think you're going to get much of a detail paint job, but if you want stuff painted quick, there might be some good colour choices in them. I can see there being problems with them. It's like the first time you go into a miniature where one's not completely dry, you're going to basically slurp up the other colour and stuff. So you're gonna, I think they're going to be limited to what you can use them for. But hey, anything that works, go for it. Innit? I think there's the old GW slave troll up there. The one with all the armour on. I just spotted him. He's a cool one. Sorry guys, I'm just having a quick coffee slurp before it goes cold. It's been tricky keeping the Pirate Island warm enough for the paints and everything to work properly. Well, they still do, but it just takes a bit longer some stuff to dry. Okay, so his kind of tabard we want it to be an off-white. So we're going to start with, what should we go, browny colours? No, I'll tell you what, let's start with I'm not indecisive at all. Okay, we're going to start with worn stone, which is pale olive grey. It's been my sort of go-to base white colour at the moment. I'm going to put some medium in it. Help that wet palette along. Nice thin coat. Opposed to being outside at the moment, you want a nice thick coat. Ha ha ha. Anyone ever said that to Duncan? I don't know. I bet that's a joke he used to get quite regularly at GW conventions, isn't it? You've only bought one coat. Did I just do that? Sorry. It must have happened though, wouldn't it? Must have. So I'm just making sure, see how it's gone a little bit in the belly of this brush, it's just taken too much moisture in it. So I'm just going back round and taking some of the moisture back out. So as you see, it's sort of, you can see that bit, it's a bit damp down in there. So we empty our brush of paint everywhere else. And then when it's nice and dry, we just go back in that area and wick that away. Wick, 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 wick. Can you see it going now? I don't know if you'll see the white on these lights. I've ordered some different lights. I like these lights, but they're a little, they don't kind of work properly for the camera, so I've ordered myself a more powerful light that hopefully will be in the right color zones. Yeah, I've been experimenting all that this week to get the right color temperature for make these videos look a bit better. I've been playing around with the light box as well because I had to do some photography for a customer. I usually shoot onto a black background or a blue background, but they need a white background, which is something I don't really, not really done with my camera, of course. You need, this is where people that know about cameras are, I'm just a mere pirate that paints. But I did notice that I usually use a warm light, and of course you need a cold light, and miniature looked rubbish, and I got angry, things were said, and then I realised that I was a foolish idiot of a pirate, and took some advice, changed the settings on my camera, changed the settings on the light box, It's trying to stop this glare off the white, basically, is what I'm on about. But I'm sure there's people watching that know far more about cameras than I, because so hopefully next week my new super duper desk lamp with the super duper diffuser will be giving us a much prettier picture, much prettier light. There we go. That's our base for our white. I'm just going to thin it out again. Strip that off a little bit. There we go. So now, hopefully, his donut head is dry now. So we can put some of that on there. There we go. That's that Crusader skin. I'm going to throw a crappy brush over there. Okie dokie. So what we want to do is use a different brown for his leggings. If you want to do it quickly, use the same brown. It won't make an amazing amount of difference. It's a fairly basic mini sets. But we're going to start this one with Brigadine Brown, which is a blackish? Yeah, blackish brown. Okay, I'm going to start off with some medium. This is just to make it look a little bit different from the robes. Cassock, isn't it? Cassock? No, I don't know if it had been called that then. I don't know. His jumper. His holy jumper. But whatever it is, make sure it's nice and thin. I think we'll do the grip of the sword with that brown as well, that darker one. I don't see any trouble with these older hands with the open hands. It does look a bit strange, but you can only do what you can do. I'm going to do his pouches with this brown as well. The dog has entered full snooze mode. I just dabbed a little tiny bit of brown on there. Brush wet. Take it off. Evening, Nick. If you can be tidy, the tidier you paint, the less you've got to sort out at the end. Just keeping the paint right on the end of the brush there. Just keep it nice and thin. I find it's, if you just got it in the tip of that brush, that it's only going to go where you want it to go. We're not having too much in the brush, so it's not slopping all over the miniature. Ahoy, Dale! How goes it? What are we doing, shipmates? Got a few in. Best reintroduce the miniature I'm painting, haven't I? Where did I put the packet? All right, over here in this pile. This is tonight's. We're painting Saga Christian Saga. Roger from Saga Thor's Day. I love the way he says Saga. Saga. Okay, I have to send him a message. That'd be a great ringtone, wouldn't it? Saga Christian Priest 3 SPR 14. There we go. They're quite handy priests in Saga. Just use this nice dark brown is just flowing really nice. So while it was flowing real nice, we just put it onto that cross. And we're going to go back to the brown of his tabard. So I'm not sure if they were called, I don't know. Were they always called cassocks, or is that something different? Was that new? I don't know. Rich, Mr. Factoid. Okay. So we just got a little bit of gap in there. It looks like a tabard. It's going to be a tabard until we've been corrected any other way. When we were live role playing, we called them tabards. Well, this, I get you. There's a little bit in there. Imperfection in there. Just giving it a once over. There we go. Is it vestment? Is it a vestment? Sounds vesty, doesn't it? Vestment. Could be a vestment. It's a Viking axe wiper. Can you imagine being a Lindisfarne? Oh, look, some visitors come to pray with us. Oh, flip. I bet that's exactly what they said. Obviously not in English. Oh, brother, your axe seems to have accidentally entered my body. What's that? That was Red Dwarf, wasn't it? What was it called? Good and Evil, I think, wasn't it? Evil and Divine. Oh, brother Viking, your axe seems to have accidentally entered my chest. Here, let me wipe it with my robes. Okay. Sorry for that. Oh, look at you go. Scapula. Wow. That's 10 gold stars for you. I should be able to. I should be able to award those on the chat, shouldn't I? Somehow. I bet you can. Right, back to some painting. Right, carnelian skin, very deep reddish brown. I'm going to use this for shoes. So this is one of my alternate leather. I was trying to remember that at the show. Somebody's asking me, and they'd watch the video and say, "What's that reddy brown one you use?" Like, could I remember it? Demons and James, that's it. Starts off the splitting the strawberries, isn't it? Oh, this strawberry, it's the best strawberry I've ever tasted. It tastes divine. Oh, this one's got sort of a sour, sort of a wriggly, meaty texture. Boys from the Dwarf. I only found out about a year ago there was a Red Dwarf role playing game, and I missed it. Can I find a copy of it? No. Never mind. Some things are not meant to be. Okay. Back at the ranch. Next, we are going to next. We're going to start on that, working on that brown. So we've used oak brown on his tabard. Next in the triad is very dark reddish brown, tree ancient. Tree ancient. I wonder if there was a paint already called ancient tree. I don't know. Tree ancient doesn't roll off the tongue as well, does it? Okay, so we're gonna have a dip of the medium. And again, we're going to hit the peaks, leave the valleys, hit the peak. This is our first highlight. We want to leave that first brown right into the deepest part of the valleys and anywhere with shadow. So underneath that pouch, we're not going to go right up underneath there. A tablet, that's a new one. I'm gonna go for, I know this isn't probably right. I'm going for the brown bit I'm painting now as a tabard. And I'm going for the vest-like bit as a vestment. And that was called a scapula though, wasn't it? I'm never going to remember that. Sorry. That's how I'm referring to it. That's what the dog's going to refer to it as, is a snort. Again, I'm going down the high bit of that bit, but I'm not going right into the edge. A tipper, a type. Oh, I was looking across for a bunch of cables then. I thought, what's a tire? My brain had a fart then and done a live typo on Nick's typo. So again, we're going to start on these peaks and go down the side of the valleys, but leave the very bottom of the valley the darkest brown. So on his arm now, we can start at the top there. We're not going to go right up against the vestment. We should leave a little gap. Then we're going to leave gaps in all these creases, so that dark brown stays as our darkest colour. We're going to carry quite a bit of area of this because we're going to do another highlight yet. But we're not going to go underneath. We're going to leave that as that darker brown. This is, we'll work on the areas where the sun can hit at the moment. Then just down the top of the peak, leave the valley. I don't know, Nick, my life seems like one massive typo at most of the time. So he's done like a little ruffled bit of cloth there. It's a nice bit of sculpting like that. And we just go on the higher bits, leave the lower bit. Keep working in that medium, keep everything flowing nice. We're just hitting the peaks, leaving the valleys. Oh, the valleys. I won't start singing any sort of Welsh type song now because I don't know any. Which is probably a good reason. Well, one of many good reasons, I suppose. Let's just work a bit more into the peaky bits. And leave those valleys alone, boyo. I loved lovely shoulders. Stick them out, stick them out. Is it Windsor Davis? Was it Windsor Davis? Yeah. Oh no, it was Ain't Half Hotman, wasn't it? Get Some In was the RAF, wasn't it? Okay, so next we're going to go for our livery time. So we're going to go through Bootstrap Brown, which is one of the more livery names of the livery browns, really. This goes on top of Brigadine Brown very well. Oh dear, how sad, never mind. Sergeant Major. I met Donna Stell once when we were kids, one of the pantomimes. Lofty, wasn't it? Lofty. Yeah. It's strange that because sometimes things are best left. This is say Bootstrap Brown. We're just going to do the same before I get carried off on a side tangent. I'm just looking for places where I was going to say air can get to it, where the light can get to it. Now as they brought old programs and stuff out on DVD, and I grabbed them. I was thinking, oh, that should have been left in the past. Do you know what I mean? I think some films, you grew up with, and they were so cool, and you go to watch them again, you think, oh, actually, ooh. I used to love. Do you remember the film Krull? That was one of the. I thought Krull was brilliant. What a mess of a film, isn't it? What a mess. But there's good bits, and of course you remember the good bits, and you forget the cruddy bits, and then And I think that's the Hawk the Slayer. There's good bits, and what was the other one that come out at the time? Beastmaster was another one, wasn't it? There's that whole sort of um, fantasy genre. It was dragged along by Conan the Barbarian, the sort of same way all the sci-fi was dragged along by Star Wars, wasn't it? That's the best way to remember Kroll. It really is. Bernard Bresslaw as a Cyclops was awesome. Okay, so I've just done all the high bits of the leather. The bootstrap brown. I'm going to go back into the tabard now. I think people were allowed to write films and experiment back then, wouldn't they? Because they didn't really have the formula hadn't been. Now everything's so formula, went through that stage of this is how you make money out of a movie. So you don't get movies like that. There's some classics, but there's also in the 80s there was a lot of mess, wasn't there? Really straight to video. Right, we're going to go Dryad Brown, which is dark reddish brown. It's like the original Willow movie. That was a cracker. So now we're just going to go on the peaks. We're not going to go in the valleys at all. We're just working down it with little lines, really. We're keeping the medium going. Yeah, I think so. Well, they had a good cast, didn't they? There was some. Val Kilmer was excellent in it, wasn't he? I couldn't possibly comment on the new version. Lady Hawk. That was the one I was trying to remember. Massive Rutger Hauer fan. Lady Hawk was actually him and was it Michelle Pfeiffer, wasn't it? Is it Michelle Pfeiffer? So I'm staying inside all the areas we've already highlighted and just hitting the very, very peaks. Excellent. Princess Bride. Was it? That was one of my mate's favourites. The guy's dueling. Oh man, Hitcher. What a film. Blade Runner as well. Even his rubbish films were awesome. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Blind Fury. Did you ever see him in one called Split Second? Split Second. It's set in. It's like a cyberpunky type thing. It's set in flooded, futuristic sort of cyberpunk London. So I'm just working around, going to these high points and just really staying right inside all the others, so you can see the brown is starting to get lighter. Split Second. Oh man, what a great movie. Dick Durkin. Detective Dick Durkin. Ian Jury is the nightclub owner as well. Okay, we're going Dryad Brown's next one up. There's another good one he's in. Past Midnight, I think it's called. And he's in it, and Clancy Brown is in it as well. Again, we're just going really to the highest highs of this next colour. This was the Dryad Brown. Just catching. Now just catching it anywhere where the highest highlights are going to be. So we're leaving that as we go down. Well, that arm's throwing a bit of shadow. I'm not putting any of these in. This is going to be our final highlight on the brow. I mean, in reality, it doesn't really happen like this. We've had this before. It's a trick of I think it's called scale color, scale shading, something like that. So we have to put in lots of extra highlights you wouldn't get in real life to make something look interesting. Otherwise, realistically, the size they are, they'll just be all one color. If you saw somebody that size, they're going to be like, I don't know, quarter of a mile away. So you wouldn't even see the face, anything. You wouldn't even see what different colors there was. You see a blob. So this whole idea of highlights and stuff is very much a cool miniature painting thing. I think it's called the scale contrast, I think. Yeah, cheers, Dale. We can talk about Dale now he's gone. That's what I just. Oh, not gone yet. Let's all talk about Dale now he's gone. It's still there, Dale. Oh. So I do. If any of you leave the stream, we talk about you. we'd redo that. We wouldn't do that, Rich, would we? He's still here. He's stalking us. He's I'm just going around and putting the odd lighter light on. I can actually hear Rich laughing in my head. That's scary. Ah, brilliant. Okay, let's do the leather. Let's go to leather brown. Oh, we have fun, don't we? And we paint stuff. Are you guys painting anything tonight? Are you having the night off? Leaving it to me. Okay, let's do this leather highlight. So it's leather brown. We've done a base and middle. We're just going to hit this with a higher bit. So it's only going to be where that light catches. Oh, tang. Did you guys hear that? He just farted at me. Oh, sorry, Gary. The dog's just dropped one. He's snoring away over there. And boom. Evening, Gary. It was no slight upon you joining us, mate. It was just the dog. What was he thinking? Well, nothing because he's sleeping, but you just relax, Rich. You just relax. I've got it. I've got this. I've got the spears as well. So we're all set. They're in the pile of things to paint at the moment, which is, I say, it's grown large this week, these 2 weeks, because I've been snagged by a big commission that sort of took me out of the picture. But hopefully I'll get going again. So we're just going around the leathery parts, just now he's snoring, he's farting. Just a little bit of a highlight on that brown that he's holding there. I'm just gonna, when we do the leather thong that's holding the, we're not going to try and paint all of it. We're just going to touch down in a couple of places just to give it a highlight. There we go. So the tabard is going to do its final highlight. We're going to go to fur brown. Give it a little shake, make sure it's all shook up. So it's actually going to be 1, 2, 3. There's going to be 6 browns in that. Unbelievable. Now this fur brown is very, very light, so we want to get lots of medium in it. It's almost like a flesh, really. Make sure there's not much in your brush. Add a bit more medium to your brush. And we're just going to just tap little areas that we think are the highest peaks. And we're just going to go straight down them in straight lines. We're not going to widen it up at all. You see that on the camera. Let's see this front bit. So these front bits, look. Just a little tiny line. Almost just down the middle of each peak. And anywhere where there's any of the original brown, we're just not going to go in there. We're looking for that just top edge of anywhere. So top of his arm there, right on the peak, just little lines going down. So hardly, just changing the tones on these very highest peaks. But anywhere where there's shadow at all, we're not going to put any at all. God, the dog is proper going for it tonight, isn't he? There we go. So next we're going to grab our tiger's eye skin, because we use carnelian skin on his boots. We're just going to highlight it once with this. We're going to make it really thin with our medium. Wash our brush, pick a bit up in the brush. We wash our brush so we don't have too much in there. And we're just going to hit the toe of his boot and that middle third. There we go. We're not going to go right up to the trouser because there's too much shadow. We're going to do it on the side of this foot. Maybe his heel. There we go. That's it. So that's the leather work's all done. The tabard's all, tabard, isn't it? We're going to call it the brown bit. That's all done. So next we're going to work a bit on his flesh. So he's had a base of moonstone skin. We're going to go to agate skin next. Yes, I've ordered some new storage cupboard things for the paint studio. So that's the next bit of news. So once I've caught up on the commission work, I'm going to be having a massive clear out. Right, so this flesh colour, we're going to drop it onto the high points. Yeah, so anything that doesn't fit in the drawers is going straight onto eBay. Looking for the top edge of these fingers. All right, cool. God, I love painting orcs. I think I did a video on orcs right at the start of the channel when I wasn't sure which direction we were going to go in, and I think I did a how to do orc flesh or something. I could do another one with the Snaga sometime. Right, so we're going to cross the eyebrow with lighter flesh, then the nose, then hit the cheeky bones. I have got in the drawer right next to my leg, I picked up a Grenadier Orc War Chariot. You know, the one with the 4 wolves all side by side. It weighs a metric ton in lead. It's complete as well. I do love painting a chariot. We'll just carry across the top of his hand there, top of his knuckles. Oh, I've got all the I've got all those orcs, Rich. The original ones. I painted them all up for Age of Magic. All the Grenadier. They were Nick Lund, weren't they? They were just Goodwin ones. Hmm. They're later, aren't they? Were they the ones that went to slaughter? What are the early ones? The early ones were Nick Lund, weren't they? Ah, okay. These are the original 1980s Grenadier ones I've got. All the Black Orc. Is it Black Orcs? Oh, okay. He did all the crazy gobbos as well, didn't he? With oh god, can't remember the name. Or terrible names. So that's all the high parts. Now we're going to go to Bubbly Berry and Flesh for our very highest high on the flesh. Water that down with the medium, nice and thin. And we're going nose. We're going eyebrows, just a little drop either side. Top of the cheekbones. That bottom lip. There we go. Then on the, I was going to say that on the slap head. That was a very sort of 80s thing, wasn't it? Slap head. You've been tangoed. And that top edge of the hand there, and onto his knuckles, just taking a little bit onto the back of his hand. Top of the thumb there. Top of his fingers. There we go. So next we're going to put some white. So we're going to do Brain Matter Beige. Thin it a bit, and we're going to stay on the peaks. Work slightly down, and just leave that stone grey in the values at the bottom. This probably won't show up on camera because of the colours. Hopefully the new lights for next week should help a little bit. I don't think they'll completely cure it. Again, we're going to start at the top, just work around, hitting the peaks, leaving the valleys. Lots of light. Pretty much fill this in, but we're going to leave any of the dips to that original grey. Background and just that top edge. Hitting the peaks. Down the peaks, down the side of the peaks. Leave the valley the bottom of the valley we're leaving alone. Down the peak, down the sides. Okay. Give that to dry a second. Cheers. It's interesting when you get like a very simple figure like this, it's very tempting. Go metal next. Just to paint that brown, paint that white, paint that. And I'm just trying to show tonight, you can paint that really quick, but let's put a little bit of extra work into it. It's good practice as well. Okay, we're going to thin a little bit onto the gunmetal. Just do the sword. It's always these simple miniatures, I think, that are surprising. If you take a bit of care on them, they can surprise you. And if you go back to have a look at how the miniature looked at the start, he's really working from a distance, this one, isn't it? Okay, so that's good. Let's go with Greedy Gold. You knew it was going to happen. So we're going to... Do you know what? It's just reminded me of the word that popped into my... We were talking about Rookahar, weren't we? Flesh and blood. Martin! I just think about a sword with the priest. You know, oh, it's Saint Martin. I don't believe in him. Yeah, you get the sword then. What a great film. Flesh and Blood. Flesh and Blood? Yeah, Flesh and Blood, wasn't it? Oh, another one from that era. Sword and the Sorcerer. The guy with the 3 blades. Oh, man. These films are crazy. Okay, we're gonna pick the top of his... Is it a crook? I'm not sure of his name yet. I think that's his name. He was brilliant, wasn't it? They were all good in that. Martin. I'm not going to say too much about the film because I don't want my channel taken down, but it's a good film. Harsh film as well. In fairness, talking about a harsh period of history, really. Well, thank you for your comment, Mr. Dog. Yeah, the dog's more of a hobo with a shotgun type of fan, I think. Well, he does like Doctor Who. He likes K9. It's the K9 voice. Yes, the dog watches TV. People say they can't, but he definitely makes the bright, sort of colourful, kind of noisy kiddie films he likes. Paddington Bear. He's a big tough dog. Yes, absolutely. Oh, just brilliant film. I just don't think films of that ilk could be made anymore. Really, it's got that classic touch of films in it. I was having this chat with a friend the other day about movies, and we both decided that our favourite film was probably The Vikings. Who could beat Kirk Douglas as a Viking? Einar. The faces he pulls at the end where he's fighting Tony Curtis on top of it. It's amazing. Okay, we're going to go for Wasteland Clay. Water that right down. Make it nice and thin. Make that nice and thin. I'd have probably, if I would have been doing all the work with the other browns, I'd have made that more of an oak brown, but I just wanted it to look different. Okay. Bit more thinning on the wasting clay, and we're gonna, it's dried quite quick, we're just gonna strengthen it up a little bit. Okay. Oh, I don't know what the dogs have fed. It's very windy. Windy evening. I'm going to grab deep grey. We're going to put lots of medium in that, and quite thin. You want it thin because when we're doing his beard and hair, we want that light grey to show through a bit. Only a little bit. I don't think it's taking it too well. So we're not to worry, we'll do it a different way. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Just keep it nice and thin though. There you go. So some of that white is starting to show through that, which is what we want. The trick is there is to keep the medium in the brush. And there's a couple of dots of white there, really stuck out. So we've just gone back and zapped those. But what we're trying to do is let some of the peaks, they've got a lot of grey in them, kind of shine through. It's going to help us. We get 3 highlights. There we go. So we're going to leave that like that for now. I'm going to grab our Psycho brush. We're just going to drop in his eyelids. We use the beige, bring out a beige. A bit of just the amount of treats the dog's had today is well windy. Yeah. There's not really much teeth in there to paint. Wash that brush. I'm going to grab our black mixture, which is mixed with medium. I'll say it's mostly Vallejo black in there now. Mixed with our medium. We're going to take some medium in the brush, get a drop of black, put it on the edge of the pot, take all the paint out of our brush. And just paint that eyeball. Okay, let's see if we can get. Yeah, get my view there. I'm going to wash the black out of the brush right now. When that brush, I mean, Rich, has the channel been going 2 or 3 years? Whatever. This brush has lasted that long, isn't it? Still the original one. Other brushes have come and gone. The Psycho brush remains. Always look after it. Always put the cap back on it. I mean, look at the state of the. So yeah, it's all good. Right. So now what we got to do? Let that grey dry. Well, that's dry, and we're going to put some. Yeah, trusty old brush. We're going to get the matte white out, and we're just going to hit all the peaks of that vestment. into the medium. I'm just going to go straight down the middle there. We're not going to go either side of the center of any of these. Any of the peaks. We're just going to literally run a straight line down. You can lift off and go back on, but you can't widen out. That's the rules there. So we're painting lines directly down any of the tops of those peaks. Do it at the top there. When it's facing up, you can catch the top edge if you can manage it. It's going to go all, the white's going to, on camera, is going to go all sort of blow out and what have you, but straight down the peak. Straight down the peak of this one. That's where I'm boring you, dog. There we go. The areas you really want to bright. If the light's going to catch the bottom edge of that material, you can actually put a little bit of thicker white there, but if you want to. Don't really need to, but you can if you like. Okay, let's grab one pot our known oil mix up that we did hash up. Known oil was just a little bit too light for me, so this one I dumped some black ink into just to beef it up a bit. And we're gonna I've got some pots of just black ink, and I thought, oh no, because otherwise, I've got some more army paint one, which I prefer. There we go. Before I may as well use the known oil up, and this is the Reikland Flesh Shade, which isn't, because it's got the army paint flesh tone in it as well. I'm just going to hit that onto the gold, and that flesh colour, I say, be brave, get as much on there as you can. See how much you can stack on without letting it run all over. It starts to bunch up like it has on his fingers there. Wash your brush out. Oh, dog, farty dog. And this one I actually do his shoes quite well, because we've used the flesh brown on his shoes, so we just chuck some of that just to take it. I thought they were a little bit light, so we just want to take them down a tone. There we go. When we've got it out, there's a kind of a weird little bit in there. It must be a casting thing. It's quite hard to cast this one with its arm up next to each other. So it was a bit of a weird groove, and I didn't like the colour of it, so I've just put some of this flesh tone in there. I'm just blending it into that side of the face, so it's going to look a little bit shadowy, that side. If something don't look right, just have a quick look at it and think, what can I do? There we go. And that will just make it look like a little bit of a shadow in there. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Isn't doing them in a little while, but that was particularly loud. Luckily, they've stayed down that end of the room, so. Oh dear. Oh dearie me. Okay, so that's all the brown's done, the white's done, flesh is done, eyeball's done. So we've got to work on the on the this hook. So we start with wasteland, so we're going to go up to burnt turf. I've usually only do this one when I put a wash over the original colour. But we're going to put lots of medium into it. I'm going to use it just as a highlighter. So we're going to look at where the staff's going to be highlighted. That's the bottom edge, that's the top edge. So I'm going to water this down. I'm going to go straight along the back. I'm not going to go round at all. Just flicking it up so it's just that back edge that's that colour. So we just, as you turn it, look, it'll work when it's lacquered. Trust. Okay. So next we're just going to, oh, that was what I was going to do whilst I had the all out. We've got that grey because it went on a little bit thicker. So we'll do something else. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the normal oil. We're just going to ever so gently put it into that hair. So you wick the black up in your brush and then you just touch it on. Go ever so lightly here. We don't want this black going all over the place. We just want it going down that. The creases in the hair. And while you're doing it, it should frame that face as well. There we go. Just gonna have to wait a minute while that dries. We're just waiting for the sword to dry. So while we do that, we'll paint the black bit around the bottom of the base, which is our victory lap. So we're nearly there. An hour and 40 minutes. Let's just make sure that blue tank's under the level of the base. We don't get any gaps. There we go. Let's have a look, see how dry the other washes. They should be, the metallic washes should be ready to go by now. So let's grab some shinning silver. The shinning. Okay, what we're going to do do an edge highlight with the silver. So using the edge of the brush against the edge of the miniature you want to paint. So we're doing sideways on there, side of the brush, just gently paint up the sides. There we go. And then what we want to do, there's a little crease at the middle there. We're going to just run a little bit up there. And then we're going to do a bit across the top of the point. There we go. And don't do any underneath because that's in shadow. If you want a little bit more, just come around the edge a bit towards the top. There we go. You can drag, when your brush is dry a little bit, you can drag across the brush like that a little bit. Just give it a little bit of. That's all we need that for. Next we want bright gold. It is made of the brightest green. I've been toiling for hours in my quest for pure gold. Yes, Percy. I've invented the purest green. Okay, it's a bright gold. Do the same thing. So, little dot on the boss there, and a little dot going across the top edge. Okay. Just dot it on a little bit. You know what I mean? Dot, drag, dot, drag, dot, drag. Again, it's going to be the top edge of there. Dab it on a little bit. If you miss bits in between, it's going to look better. So anything that sticks out like these lumpy bits, just let your brush fall where it needs to. There we go. And we're not doing any of this side because this side's in shadow. So I think he's done. There's a temptation when you do the white to start dropping washes in there. You've got to be ever so careful that you're not just making more work for yourself. I mean, what you could do with that tabard if you really wanted a quick way to do it. If something's white, paint it white. If something's black, paint it black. That's it. It will still look fine. If you want to fart around with it and make yourself lots of work to show how clever you are to people, there's different ways to do it. But at the end of the day, if something's white, paint it white. And if something's black, paint it black. That's what I say. Right, let's put the lid on there for a minute. Let's grab ourselves some of the Gamer Grass mixed green. Gamer's Grass mixed green. 6mm. I do like these Fanatic paints for their bit of super glue. No, that's not right. Oh, I dropped one. The dog's dropped one. But is it an easy spot? Yeah. I generally pick them back up because I know you can't use the. I never trust the adhesive only on there. I always just bung a bit of super glue and it's crying out for one there as well, isn't it? When you're doing a kind of simple miniature with simple colours, I think where's my? I always have a spare bit of tissue over there to sort the super glue out. If I put it away. Yeah, it was Sen. Yeah, simple palette, simple miniature. I think just working is the temptation just to paint it brown, chuck a wash on it, which you can do. Don't get me wrong, and it still look all right. If you're doing lots of them, that's probably the way to approach it. But if you're doing a single miniature, we've spent an hour and 3/4 there, and he's ready for the lacquer. There's nothing else to do. I think that's any more and that'll be overkill. You could take maybe the flesh up one more tone, but I really think it would make it look a bit cartoony, the flesh, so I'd be tempted to leave as is. When you put the matte lacquer on, that will blend it even more, if you know what I mean. So there we go. That was, let's put his code up again, shall we? I've lost the box. SPR14, I remembered it. Yes, SPR14 from Gripping Beast is their Christian Priest 3. I think it is number 3. There's a couple of different ones. But yeah, I think he's come out pretty smashing. Ready to hit a Saga tabletop near you. So, I think he's done. I don't think any questions. Do you want? We're an hour and we've got 10 minutes, I reckon. If we want anything off the shelves to look at and dusted. I'm going to have a dolly mixture while I wait for any responses. I could have a look at the shelf, see if there's anything there. We could visit a drawer. Or I could switch the thing off and carry on with the commission so I get to Richard's quicker. I'll see if I find more trolls. You can see a dragon. What else is kicking about? I think you're right, Nick. These ones always surprise me. You pick them up in lead, and they don't look nothing, and then you get a little bit of paint on them, and it looks close up, but tabletop there, he looks a treat, doesn't he? Instantly, you know what he is. And on a tabletop with your Saga warband, it's just right. Right. So no, being Christian, it's tricky, isn't it? I think the picks I've got a pagan priest for anyway. I'm not sure. I think the priest ones are good to have in an odd tray somewhere. We used to find that if somebody couldn't decide, if you were playing like a 6-point battle and you only needed 5, just stick a priest on the table. Okay. Have him hovering around somewhere. Maybe a warlord or someone just doing his stuff. I don't think the picks are going to have any trouble dealing with your Goths at all. I'm very, very confident that the... I was really surprised that I played the picks against later Romans. Yeah, later Romans. And they were heavy duty. And I managed to smash them. But yeah, we shall see. Your grumpy Viking, grumpy vampire senate. I mean, your Goths. Trying to find some troll. Oh, there's another troll. This is the Reaper Bones troll, which is very dusty. What about the Fomorians from Alternative Armies? Those are trolls. That's the original ones, but we bought that back in the when they first come out. But they still make them, don't they? There's lots of ogres. Oh well, I won't go. This will be a dust pile at that bit of the shelf. Right. Well, since it's 1 hour and 53 minutes now, I think that's job done. I think digging around on the shelves is just going to make the room dusty. So there he is. I think he's 450. He might have gone up a little bit. I'm not sure if they went up 50p or not because of the lead prices. So it might be a fiver. But this is the saga one, comes with the base as well. So yeah, that is all done. Thank you for joining me, guys. If you, I'll stay doing what I'm doing at the moment, just starting the feed up because the camera's going up the right way, and as soon as I can work out to do it with the link again, I will. So I'll keep sending the reminders through Griffin Beast. But what does help for people watching this back tomorrow is if you hit subscribe and a like, and then there's a notification bell. If you knock that, when I go live, you'll get a ping on your phone or computer, whatever you do. So that's probably the best way forward for now, until I can get this screen situation sorted out. Okay, guys, well, thanks for joining me. It's been a pleasure, never a chore. Happy painting, and we'll see you soon. Have a good weekend, guys. Cheers. Bye now.